Yes, I would like to say greetings in the best of salutations. That would be prayer, power, peace, patience, and prosperity. This is social introspection hour. Excuse me. And as it pertains to uh, therapeutic or social introspection hour or time in therapeutic expression unto personal healing. A person is that through which sound is made. Before there is sound, before there is motion, there is sound, and motion is perpetual. Who is the greatest among you? It is written that people were in English Bible, people were jockeying over positions, jockey, fighting, or jockeying is very associated to something that is athletic, an athlete, or with people using a very, I guess, vulgar way of jockeying me, riding my jock, or what have you. It's like something is riding you, and as if you're unable to stand on your own merit. It's likened unto trying to also live vicariously through someone else's success. Jockeying. Pretty interesting, to say the least. I'm just thinking in regards to, I was looking at the a presentation on the about a particular athlete. People may call he was called the Big Dipper, they call him, and his individual accomplishments in that field of play, and social comparisons come into mind. And he was thanking a particular league for allowing him, to showcase his talents, gifts, and skills. Excuse me, there's something going on with my teeth here. But needs to say, and overlooking the fact that his grace and mercies as it pertains to his talents and skills, and that which he or she should give credit to, not saying that he is not, but it can be. We can give people too much credit and not realizing that the grace and mercy of his talents and skills, his gifts, and his natural evolving process was in the womb of his mother, and therefore that which should be give all praises to, of course, is the Creator. But that's not my concern in this wise. Is that my concern really, man, is that in our limited perceptions, or it's like this is personal, my limited perception, I come to understand that there is some distorted thinking going on here, when we give more credibility and more honor to people, and they misuse and abuse because they really are not to be thought of and seen as beings that are to think of themselves and ourselves more highly than we ought, than one ought to. There's another individual who played in the athletic field, running back, and he when he scored a touchdown, he just handed the referee the ball, and he had broken some records, and he retired early. Very humble guy, Can't recall the name, if there was, that was given to him, but he was a very, very humble guy, Some of you may know him in the athletics field, as he played the game called in America football. His name was Barry Sanders, and yes. So, but who is the greatest? Says the greatest among you must be first willing to serve and to serve humanity. Yes. It says that I do not promote any religious thinking or ideology or persuasion. I just promote the value of self-worth. I study the facts and connect the dots, and that which I conclude as a fact may not be such as to you. That which I come to conclude as the truth may not be the truth to you. For me, the truth is the cause that impacts the result of one's reality or my reality. It says about favor, because we want to deal with success as well. And we know there are many definitions of success. Earl Nightingale gave his, Booker T. Washington gave his, Dennis Kimbrough gave his. There are many people about success, and I have my definition for success, Success. But listen to this, so that we don't think more highly of ourselves than we ought to, and to dispel being, mentally, disoriented and delusional, and becoming very irrational, And when one becomes irrational, he becomes what is called mentally incapacitated, and he or she is unable to reason. When one is unable to reason, Brother Paul Thompson would say, there is a demon that is present. Says it, Allah knows He placed and planted and put His potential in us only when it is manifested in practical ways. Before anything can manifest itself, it must first have order. Where there's order, there's duty. Where there's duty, there is responsibility. Let me read that again. It says, Allah knows He placed, planted, put His potential in us when it is manifested in practical ways. Let's look at that now. No. your place is likened unto a plant. Likened unto a plant. Says all life consists of animal life and plant life. It's likened unto a plant when it is manifested in practical ways. Practical of or concerned with the actual doing or use of something rather than with theory or ideas. An idea, plan, or a method likely to succeed to be effective in real circumstances. So what we are talking about here is the reality. Dealing with reality. Because everything is raised up for a purpose. If we look at this universe, the creation of all things, it is done for a purpose. It is done with something in mind. It's not nothing that is theoretical. We're living in this reality right now. But when you are dealing with a conjecturer, an enchanter, a master magician, they will give you their reality. And their reality becomes a heaven for them at the expense of putting people and causing them to live in hell. And that is impractical. Race is impractical. It is a concept, but it's not factual. So when it is manifested in practical ways, what has been planted in us, planted on this plane in existence through thought, has manifested itself in the reality in practical ways. Based on the knowledge that a person has possessed, a tendency to do what? To steal? How did that manifest itself in practical ways? That the knowledge that a person possesses puts him in a position that he will steal, that he will kill, because of this possess a tendency. But you possess this tendency. You possess this potential. The Native American said, you look in the person's eye, he or she has the propensity to kill, to steal and commit theft, a thief. But it's on the knowledge that he has actually committed the theft. But it is the knowledge that he has that has manifested him or herself, that has manifested itself, that he has committed the thought. If you said you thought you sinned in your heart, then therefore you sinned. It goes on to say that Allah does not bestow favors and rewards on the basis of knowledge. That a person has the potential and capability to become a great, talking about greatness now, a great believer and fighter in his way or in his cause. But on the basis of knowledge that the person has concern with, has practically proved by his or her deeds and action that he is a sincere believer. So we're talking about sincerity now. The basis of knowledge, the basis of anything, sincerity. But what did Dr. King say? He says that sincere, nothing worse than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. The concern here, there is a concern when it comes to one's sincerity. And when it comes to success, when it comes to being disoriented, delusional, irrational, and distorted thinking when it comes to success. Allah will surely make it evident when it comes to our thinking, our behavior, our deeds, and our actions, and how the knowledge has manifested itself in practical ways. But what prompted one to think in a manner, in a way that would cause him to steal, kill, and murder? What will prompt one to act in a manner, in a way that will justify his or her irrational behavior? It is the tendencies. So we must address and deal with these tendencies, this tenderness, because the tendencies and the tendencies is in your in your body, on your muscle. These tendencies, it is like it's like the human experience is a fragile one. This potential and capability that we have to become great if we address and overcome these unhealthy, unnormal tendencies that we have when it comes to our thinking as being human beings. And one of the other thing I would like to share is that an open enemy is that when we are unable to control our animal instinct. Let's look at this here now. Tendency. An inclination. It says we have a natural inclination, the natural ability, the evolving process to worship. But when that which is done in an unnatural way, instead of being progressive, we become regressive. But toward a particular, that which you are leaning toward, a particular characteristic or type of behavior, environment could do that. The people whom you listen to can do that. Through media, press, and television can do that. They can control your tendencies. So let's look at the tendencies as if they are controlled by a puppeteer. And the tendencies are the strings that are being pulled. Particular characteristics of a type of behavior. A group with a large political party or a movement is given the definitions. These tendencies you look at the political, they having animals on their head. It's like the human appetite, because the earth has a human appetite. These tendencies, these characteristics that we must deal with, that we lean, or we have a naturally a inclination toward, that we somewhat gravitate toward to. It could be anything. It could be women, drugs, alcohol. It could be anything. It is an inclination. Now, some would say there is a natural inclination, and then there is an unnatural inclination that is to be discussed. So, in this personal healing, therapeutic expression, self-introspection. So what does tendency mean? A direction. Some say you pray toward the east. Wherever you stand, if I'm turn my head this way, I'm going to walk that way. You know what I'm saying? So, and if I turn my head this way, if I stand up, I'm more likely I'm going to go that way. A direction. So therefore, someone needs to guide them. Or something must come down to give them guidance. Just thoughts of expression, therapeutic thoughts of expression. Because we seem to have drifted off the course. And therefore, when you drift off the course, you deviate from the straight path. The potential that is to rise above the confines of this material reality, material, tend to drift. And we know about a boat sometimes can set sail and it can drift off, of course. Drift referred to an inclination or a line of action or a movement. A tendency, an inclination toward a certain line of action or a certain lifestyle. Influence now. We're dealing with influence. Whether or not the action follows, and if often the result of inherent qualities in nature or habit, a tendency to what? To procrastinate. That's why it says, just do it. You know what I'm saying? These tendencies, man, we have to deal with. When that which has influence over us, and then we have we have this inclination toward that, and we have this inclination to even cause hurt, harm, and endanger one another. That seems to takes precedence over to have the natural inclination to really help one another. And I'm not talking about helping one another where it's that you cause more harm than good. It's called an enabler. But what would draw one to these to these tendencies? Thought, attitude, environment, feelings, emotions, people, places, things. What I'm trying to get to is that the devices that we have in the society in which we live, it is creating this environment, this type of behavior, as if we become so addicted to it. It could be greed. It can become a tendency to lean toward, to want to think more highly than you ought to. Huh? It could be a tendency that we do things just to make us, just feel real good about ourselves. It's this tendency to seek validation from other people. It is this, what would draw us, or what has drawn us from our original natural inclination, our natural evolutionary process of the grace and the mercies that has been given to us from the womb of our conception, what has drifted us and driven us away that will cause us to deviate from that? That we will make that which is good, for lack of words, a bad good and good bad. What would cause us to deviate now from saying that this individual, the greatness of look at the greatness of an individual, that we will reverence that person, but when the creature will not reverence the Creator? And then we become so addicted to it. It's like, and if we do not get that, it's like a fix. So we tend to suffer from withdrawals. And then therefore that will prompt a behavior that will cause us to go out and do things just to get and to feel that high once again. Man, it's some serious stuff going on, man. It's some serious stuff, man. Humanity is at, the old attitude and the mentality of the society when it comes to media, press, television, entertainment, all areas of life. Someone's supposed to control, man. It is at its end now. There is a model that is coming about that must be set, and there is another opportunity for people to come back to home to their humanity. If not, something catastrophic may occur. Because that which we call God is long-suffering. He's given us the opportunity to come back home to your humanity. Come back home to your original state. Come back home to your natural evolutionary process when it comes to His graces and His mercies that He has given us from coming out from the womb of our mother. Come back now. Day of reckoning is when a testing time, when the degree of one's success and failures will be revealed. Deals with accomplishments, limitations, governed by the law of work. Because mental labor precedes mental labor. Remember these tendencies. These repeat themselves, become habits, and your intentions are judged by your actions. If you do a thing, you intended, that's what's in your thought. You intended to do it. But then you may do a thing, say something, or cause harm to an individual, but it's not the individual. It's some other accumulating factors that come into play that will cause you to act out in a way that is uncharacteristic of you. So therefore, it goes to show that there is something that has something diabolical that has taken place, that has altered your character. Your natural evolutionary has altered your character, if I may use these terms interchangeably, if I may. And cause you to take out your anger and your frustration on the wrong individual, on the wrong person. Because if you do not deal with a problem that you are facing in life, the problem does not become solved. It only gets worse. Don't impose that burden on nobody else. Oh, this is a day of reckoning. The time is when one is called to account for one's actions and to pay one's debts and to fulfill one's promise or obligations. We cannot ignore what strongly affects us. We tried all day long. We can't ignore what affects us. I understand. And I'm going to close in this wise. When it comes to categories of distorted automatic thoughts, labeling. You assign global negative traits to yourself and others. I am undesirable, or he is a rotten person. Labeling. This is what we have to come over. Because we have been, like I said, psychosocially dislocated, and we're emotionally displaced. Many people are emotionally displaced, man. Another tendency we have to overcome: unfair comparison. You interpret events in terms of standards that are unrealistic. For example, you focus primarily on others who do better than you and find yourself inferior in the comparison. Social comparison. She is more successful than I am. Others did better than I did on the test. Well, who created this? That we have this natural, not just natural, but this inclination toward it, to this typical type of thinking, this typical type of behavior. It has to come out of a mind of someone who has the wrong attitude about himself, the wrong attitude about life, and the wrong attitude about others. And it has influenced the people of the society, wherever geographical location that you are living in. Then, what if? What if? You keep asking a series of questions about what if something happens, and if you fail to be satisfied with any of the answer, yeah, but what if I get anxious? Or what if I can't catch my breath? What if? What if? You keep asking a series of questions about what if. That's pessimistic. Deals with being offered false hope, leads to fatalism, fraudulent behavior. What if? And the pessimist, see, there's an opportunity there, but he sees it as something that is difficult. An optimist, in every difficulty, he or she sees an opportunity. And I'm talking about, they say, look beyond the fault and see the needs. I'm talking about not an opportunity to exploit and text time out the attitude, not an opportunity to manipulate, exploit, and degrade, and misindoctrinate people, not the opportunity to take advantage of a people, to mislead or to misguide people, but an opportunity to be the model in the right way. It says that the wage in the English Bible, the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. People always associate that with money. Talk about a righteous living. It's to live a meaningful life, to be useful. Because the mind at its best is to be productive. And the brain cells is constructed to think correctly. But when we do things to alter that construction of our brain cells, then therefore we ain't thinking correctly. And therefore we do things in a very inconsistent manner. It's like, if your neurological transmitters are connected properly, but yet then we consume or think other things that come in our mind, our neurological transmitters are not connected, and therefore we need a therapist now. And some folks who even pretend to be more healthier than others, they themselves, they need a therapist themselves. Another tendency, inability to confirm. You reject any evidence or argumentative. That's cognitive dissonance. that might contradict your negative thoughts associated with cognitive dissonance. For example, when you have a thought, I am unlovable, you reject as irrelevant, as if you don't deserve to be lovable, to be valued, to be appreciated. Who created this environment that we have this inclination that we're going in that direction, and that becomes a type of behavior? Where does this man, what in the hell is going on? Oh, man. I remember a sister. She was a singing artist in the 60s. Sung with Marvin Gaye. I just use his name. I very rarely use names. And I'm not saying it's true, but that which is attributed to her. And that she had been abused as a child. Very beautiful personality it seemed to be from a distance, as far as I can see. Presence, just to see, just to smile, or you could see, the beauty, The innocence, man, the innocence, man. It's been contaminated and corrupted, man. And got abused, and all of a sudden the abuse seemed to be as accepted as the norm. And that's not the norm, man. It is not the norm. To hurt people, to harm people, to misuse people, to abuse people in any way that you're doing it, it is not the norm, man. Ain't nothing normal about that. Ain't nothing normal to keep feeling, just to think bad of yourself, or about yourself, to bring others down. Ain't nothing normal about that, man. Ain't nothing normal, man, to continue to be mean, to be hostile. Ain't nothing normal about that, man. What is normal about that? Who will come and be the model to change that? You need a social interventionist. Someone must intervene in your affairs. And I say I'm a social interventionist, because I see that. Judgment focus. Another tendency we must overcome. Your view of yourself and others is evident in terms of evaluation as good or bad or superior, inferior, rather than simply describing, accepting, or understanding. You are continually measuring yourself and others according to arbitrary standards and finding that you and others fall short. You are focused on the judgment of others as well as your own judgments of yourself. The principle, man, the principle of self-acceptance. Accept yourself. So, well, this is another self-introspection, therapeutic expression, personal healing. Reverend Wallenwood Kevin teaches, preaches when it comes to reverence from the heart. Reverence is first concern or fashion in order that we respect one another, and when we respect one another, we compliment one another. Complimentary respect, because as we come out from our mother womb, we come into this plane of existence with reverence to compliment it. It's a beautiful thing, man. Oh, man, it's a beautiful thing, man. And we are in the joy that I get out of studying, man, and so forth and so on. As I always say, I associate myself as being a consequentialist, because we all have to face the consequences, whether good or bad. And I also say that I am I like to say Attorney General for human salvation, or Attorney General for humanity, whatever you want to call it, put it. And the cohesive assembly of a language of knowledge and peace, social interventionist, conciliatory healer, I should say, social life skills strategist, and common humanity mission, promoters of the value of self-worth, communicators with precision through 5 channels of communication: understanding, tolerance, temperament, confidence, and respect. And the mandate is to cultivate the potential of knowledge that is in us all. The Cash App, feel free to donate $1, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100. CH Mission is the Cash App, and Humanity is chumanity.org. I know if mainstream would promote what I share or promote me and put me out there, I will be accepted by other folks, and they will donate. But I will still keep pushing and doing what is from my heart, as I led by the spirit that resides in me from generations of the past, and however far it goes up until now, and stand on the shoulders of my ancestors and those who went before me, and much respect to my immediate ancestors who have went before me, my grandmother Mary, my grandfather Richard, my uncle Richard, my aunt Martha, and aunt Roxy, and many others that I don't necessarily can recall their names. And there was no model for me to follow, for me to get to this point of the manner and way in which I think, and the manner and way in which I have expressed myself, in my immediate family that I know of. But my mother said that that we prayed for someone to be to I don't want to get into that, but it's not that it's just not nothing to boast and brag about. That's why I'm not. It's not nothing that deals with my dealing with something that is associated with being emotionally displaced, and I'm not discarding that in my own life. But man, and I'm very thankful, man, and just for the opportunity to come into and catch up with my with myself. It may have been so far here, but my mind, my body, my spirit, whatever it is, it's just maybe it's just catching up, and feel good about yourself, man, and take care of yourself, and know that progress is not always a straight line. It has its dips and curves. At the end of light, there's always what we call hope, and where light really represents knowledge. But man, and sisters, people, family, and remember, what is ahead of us is community life, and the journey to community life is a journey to human excellence, and we must reverence that. So other than that, talk to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, really mean that. Thank you.